Uh, First item of business is the approval of the minutes from last meeting.
I'm sorry, Robert, we were
It's all right.
taking care of business and making sure everybody had something. Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make one edit to the minutes of last meeting, if I may.
Okay.
Page 4, paragraph 4, my vote is listed as a yes, and it should be listed as a no for the record.
Page 4, did you say? Of, under which item?
Sorry, I'm pulling up my notes right now. Oh, I have my notes. I'm pulling up the packet. The first motion, we all decided that Becky restructured the motion, and I believe Lance seconded, and it was a 3-1 vote.
It's on the, to directing the staff to send comments to the city council? Is that the
Correct.
one? Okay.
Correct.
Do you see that, Cheryl?
Which one is that? On page 4, we had one vote that Kendall and Reed were both no,
And then it's the motion right under that, correct?
and that one is the Kendall area no.
And then the second one has me listed as a yes, and it needs to be a no. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other corrections or additions to the minutes?
With that being said, I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes with Stephen's amendment or change in the vote on the second motion on page 4.
And I second.
Got a first and a second. Any further discussion? Let's proceed to vote.
Candelaria,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Levy,
Yes.
Remy.
Yes. Next item is the master street plan adoption. Tracy?
Good evening, Commission. So up for adoption tonight is the Master Street Plan. And you guys have all received one comment letter that you have at your place settings. So if you haven't read those, please read that letter tonight. We've not had any other comments since noticing this meeting. And I will circle back to the contents of that letter in a second. The Master Street Plan is a long-range planning document. It falls under the Comprehensive Plan umbrella. It is an addendum to the Comprehensive Plan, and the current Master Street Plan map was last adopted and updated in 1999 and is a standalone companion to the comp plan. So the current map was reviewed by the Planning Commission in December of 2020, and then that draft was taken to county staff and the County Planning Commission, and all the revisions since have been forwarded through our county, our Planning Commission packets do get sent to the county. And just to go over the activities that we've taken to get to where we are tonight. We held 2 public meetings by Zoom in February to get feedback on the initial plan. The public expressed concerns for the County Road G truck route, and there was concerns that the roads would not be buildable across major drainages. The alignments were set in stone. There was concern for impacts to property owners, and it was explained that the plan was typically applied when the landowner pursued development. And there was concern that any type of request would trigger the requirement to construct a road or provide right-of-way. Based on the feedback and the results of a Planning and Zoning Commission workshop, the plan was revised. The map and the policies were scaled back. The County Road G truck route was removed. The plan boundary was reduced to 1 mile and incorporated all those geographic constraints into the boundary, which would be McElmo and Hartman Draw. And several policies were incorporated to address the concerns that we heard as a result of the public outreach. And we had, kind of just in summary again, we had a total of 3 public Zoom meetings, 2 in-person open houses in June, and then, as you guys know, the Planning and Zoning Commission held numerous discussions and at least one a formal workshop. Council discussed the plan at 2 different workshops. We had an email address that was dedicated to the plan, a website, an online comment form, online postings on the city's homepage and Facebook page about the plan, and notices of public meetings were sent out in the utility bills. So those February meetings and the June meetings were noticed in the water bills. So this hearing tonight was published twice in the newspaper, posted online and on Facebook, and we put up posters in city buildings and on bulletin boards. The minimum requirements was the newspaper notice be published. So the Planning Commission, you have the authority to adopt the plan per the state statutes. And as I noted in the staff report, if we adopt the plan tonight, we will do that with the intent of changing the title and adding a signature block to the final document. So I don't think that will substantively change anything about this plan, but it will make the title no longer a draft, so we know what the official document is in the future, along with having a signature block on there. Regarding the comments you guys have, I gave you a vicinity map to show the area that the folks are talking about. And this is kind of in an undeveloped part of a subdivision where apparently a landowner owns many lots. I think the whole block there. They've put in the letter, they request East Driscoll right-of-way between North Beach and North Wedgewood streets be vacated. I guess just to note that our current, the map that you have for adoption tonight shows that as dedicated right-of-way that's not built. So the master street plan cannot vacate that right-of-way. So for now, the way it's coded on this map is strictly a factual basis. So the applicant, the owners can apply to vacate the right-of-way, but if you leave it on or off this map, it doesn't really change that it's already dedicated right-of-way. So take that for what you will. And I think that's all I really have to say about this. It's, we need to open this up for a public hearing, and staff feels at this time the plan is ready to be officially adopted and implemented.
Anybody have any questions for Tracy? Right now, North Beach stops at East Carpenter Street, right?
The developed part, yes. The pavement,
Yeah.
correct.
I'd like to say that I think there are some valid points raised by Mr. Blackburn and Ms. Atkins about the runoff in the area, and that's a concern with me as well. Like I said, it's, as of now, unless the development unless the area between Wedgewood and Beach is developed further north, it doesn't seem like it'll make it a difference. But to me, I think they made some valid points that need to be considered. I don't know that it necessarily needs to be part of the master street plan. Okay, Stephen. I don't think it needs to be part of the master street plan, but I think it's definitely certain that is noteworthy, that should be considered when those lots are developed, or when that time comes, that the circumstances could certainly be brought up when that happens. But I have a fear that these natural areas will, when the streets are put in, will just turn into like mini rivers instead of the more or less flattened runoff. So I will say I do have some, I think there are some legitimate points in their letter. I just don't know that it makes any difference as far as the street plan goes.
And am I reading right that the city has put in no through traffic and road closed signs that are there now?
That's what's in the letter. I personally haven't checked to see that.
Okay.
We did get this just yesterday.
Personally, for me, in regard to the right-of-way, Tracy, you did say that the right-of-way is dedicated as of now. I think that it needs to stay that way on the master streets plan, and I'm incredibly confident in city staff, particularly the engineering and public works side of things, that if and when that portion of Driscoll is connected, that the stormwater management will be properly taken care of at that time. And I don't think that's a planning and zoning issue. I think that's a staff deal that they will handle, and I think they're gonna do a great job of ensuring the stormwater management is properly taken care of. So those are my 2 cents.
And my point would be, like you mentioned, Tracy, there's a vacation application process to request vacated parts, rights of way that don't have anything to do with the major street plan. So if the applicant wants to apply, and we've recommended vacation of right of way before, particularly an alleyway, that would be the appropriate process and not the major street plan process.
I guess with that in mind then, any other comments on this? Or I would entertain a motion to adopt the master street plan. Didn't see that on the agenda, so no.
Yes, we need to open the public hearing.
Okay, well, I guess before we have any motion then, we'll open the public hearing for comments on the master street plan. Anybody in the audience care to comment? Come over to the non-microphone podium. Oh, there's a microphone there. Give your name and address and make comments, please.
My name is Danny Case, and I am part of a member of a group of individuals that owns the property. We got about 60 acres that goes from Main Street all the way to 7th, and from the other side of high school all the way back over to, would be parallel to Big R. When you propose these streets, are the landowners going to have to share in the cost of building these?
This is south of Big R you're talking about?
If you're going to have development, then the people that would be developing that area would pay to put the streets, the water lines, the sewer lines. If it's empty, vacant land and there's nothing there, the developers would pay to put that in, not the city.
So you, excuse me, you saying the owners, or we develop that, we gonna have to bear the cost of putting the streets in?
And I'm sorry, what, could you repeat that, sir? I didn't hear the exact words you said. Could you? the property owners would be responsible for the costs of building the streets, putting the water lines and the sewer lines in, if there's development plan for vacant land. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It would be done through what's called a subdivision improvement agreement.
But the proposed streets that you have on your map now is something that would be in the future and be up to the landowners for development?
And Tracy can correct me if I'm wrong, this map shows where streets could, should, ought to go in the future. And its recommendations to the city staff, to city council, where this group thinks the streets need to go.
Okay.
There's a lot between this map and you being told you gotta build a street. There's a lot that has to happen.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you bet, thank you. Anyone else? We'll close the public hearing then. And I guess I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion to adopt the proposed master street plan with an updated map title and signature block for recording and approve P&Z Resolution Number 4, Series 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I guess this means you want discussion, so yeah, you don't have to. Okay, go ahead. Is there any further discussion?
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, yeah, thanks. So I just wanted to ask if it's not listed as a public hearing and it's listed under business of the commission, if it's actually properly noticed to approve, or do we need to table this and renotice it?
All of our hearings have been listed under 3 on our agendas as business of the commission for as long as I've been here.
So they've never been specifically like public hearing?
No.
No, every site plan, every vacation, everything you guys have approved has been through business of commission.
But usually, I seem to recall it saying public hearing in front of the name of the agenda item.
I don't think there's a problem with it, ma'am. I think it's been adequately noticed.
Okay, I just want clarification.
Okay, thank you.
We'll look into changing it if necessary, but I don't believe so. This is how business has been done. It's been noticed, and so I think it's adequate.
Any other comments, discussion?
I have a comment. I hope, and this is directed towards our mayor, Mike. I hope that when this comes before council, that they will be reminded, council will be reminded that this is really a rather conservative approach, seeing as how we legally have the right to go out 3 miles. Second, we've considered natural barriers, different situations that might come up, and I'd like council to know that this is actually a pretty well thought out plan. It's pretty contained, and it's in my mind it's quite conservative approach considering what legally we could have done as far as the street plans go. So that's my only comment.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? We'll proceed to vote.
Candelaria,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Levy,
Yes.
Remy.
Yes. Do you know when this will go in front of city council, Tracy?
This doesn't have to go in front of city council. This is a planning and zoning decision solely, and it consists or becomes a recommendation to council that's followed unless they, if I remember correctly from the statute, there would need to be a 2/3 vote by council to not follow your recommendations, but this is totally your decision. Council doesn't bless this. It's left as a resolution, so if something needs to be changed, you don't have to go through a long ordinance process. So it's a working, living, I hate saying these words some days, but it's a living and breathing document. It's not just like an ordinance cast in stone.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda then is a county development for request of a single lot. And Neva, you highlight us. Make sure your microphone's on.
All right, so this is a pretty straightforward county project. Jimmy Sukla applied to the county for a single lot minor development of property located at 12588 Road 23. The property is 49.1 acres in size, and the applicant is requesting to pull out 8.3 acres that has the residence and surrounding structures on it, and is requesting AR 3 to 9 zoning for that 8-acre lot. The remaining property would be 35 plus acres, or would remain under AR 35 plus zoning for the remaining property. Staff feels the requested rezoning would be compatible with those densities in the surrounding area. The city master street plan does not go into that area of the county, and therefore complies with our master street plan. And the County Planning Commission will hold a public hearing for this project next week on August 12th. So staff didn't see any overwhelming issues with this single lot development.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from commissioners? Entertain a motion then?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion to direct the chair to sign the plat for the single lot development on property owned by Jimmy Sukla, located at 12588 Road 23, Cortez, Colorado, on property in Montezuma County within the 3-mile urban influence area, with signature block number 1 for compliance with the master streets plan.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion or any questions for Neva? Let's proceed to vote.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Levy,
Yes.
Candelaria,
Yes.
Remy.
Yes. Next item is citizen participation. Got any citizens that would like to address the commission? For the record, state your name and address and where you're at.
Phil Johnson, 12163 Highway 145. I just wanted to acknowledge and recognize the efforts of Tracy Hughes, Neva Conley, Chad Hill, and Doug Roth on this Master Streets Plan. You know, as Tracy listed all of the efforts that our team made to get public outreach and incorporate comments as well as at the county level, and rather than just do a public notice in the newspaper. And I think this is, as Lance stated, this is a very tight document that was crafted through that input, through their efforts, and I just wanted to recognize their effort and thank them for it.
Thank you, I concur.
Thank you.
Any other citizen? Let's move on to any P&Z discussion items. I guess I have one to bring up. Due to Tom Butler was on the Board of Adjustments, and there's a vacancy there. Just to help throw things along, I put my name down there saying I would go ahead and fill his spot. However, if, let's see, Becky, you're on there, right? If one of you two other gentlemen would care to be on there, then I will withdraw.
What exactly does that entail?
And Tracy?
Robert, I sent a notice to Linda that I wanted to be considered for that position.
Okay. Did Linda,
When it first became open.
Oh, You sent a note to Linda?
Yes,
I wonder if, did she acknowledge receipt
she
of that?
acknowledged it. I don't know if I can find it on my phone at the present time, but I'm pretty sure I can.
Okay, I don't know if it probably is, what, we have it on the agenda for next week. Can check and see if we can still throw your request into the pool. I think Neva and I thought no one had submitted any interest.
Yeah,
As if-
let me see if I can find it.
And Robert had offered.
I sent my letter to Linda on the 29th of April, and she replied back on that same date, saying, "Thank you, this is perfect," and so.
Okay,
And that's the last I've heard, so.
okay.
now that, I seem to remember you saying something about that, and I would gladly withdraw then and allow Lance to be on there. But I guess I would have to officially send you or Linda my withdrawal?
I'm pretty sure we need alternates too.
Oh,
So
that's,
I'm taking keep applying, people, is the response. But we can only have 2 P and Z members on there. I don't know if one of you can be an alternate. But I'm not sure. That would be an attorney question. So, my recommendation, honestly, is if you both are interested, we can put both of your names on the council workshop, and then, Robert, if you'd rather defer to another planning commission member, you could make that your wish, until I know more about, whether we can use you both as alternates.
yeah, so as an alternate, let's say one of the other people didn't want to be on there, then we
True.
end up having 3
Right.
commissioners, and that wouldn't work. So yeah, I'd have to withdraw then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fine. Are you withdrawing then your interest at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
So what exactly does the board entail, just out of curiosity?
So the Board of Adjustments and Appeals hears variances, and so you are supposed to consider if it meets all of the hardship criteria. I don't know if it's 6 or 7 items, so, they're not subjective judgments. It's, is the lot really of an unusual size and shape? Is there really steep slopes on half the lot? And then if you can meet all the findings, then you may approve the variance request, and then the appeals portion is hearing whether or not a staff's interpretation or decision holds water. So that's the, what's that, in the code? The building code, yes. And I think the engineering, actually, the city engineer's determinations, which are out of the construction and design standards. So that's the role of the Board of Adjustments, and then those decisions get appealed to court.
So essentially, the board only meets whenever there's a variance request.
Correct.
Yeah, and for example, we've had, I think, we had two 2 years ago, 1 last year, and we have a pending request this year. So it's, as of the past few years, it has not been very frequent, but that could change at any moment, I suppose.
So I guess you need to make sure you get with Linda and tell her that my request is not there and put Lance in there instead.
Sir, if you could give Linda a call yourself, for sure. If I misunderstood you, I'm sorry, but it should probably come from you directly, if you want to withdraw your name.
Oh, I can easily get that email going.
Pardon?
I can easily get that email to happen. I'll send it to Linda tomorrow. But we want to make sure Lance is on the agenda then for council next Tuesday.
I think we can get them on. Everything's due tomorrow, so.
Okay. Maybe you should Should we email you, Tracy, or Linda?
Linda, please.
Okay. Maybe you should email
You can
Linda
copy me
again
if
to
you'd like.
remind her, and then I'll send her an email that I'm not interested. Thank you, Lance. Any other discussion items? You see the building permits, they're there. Any other items of business?
I guess this would be our time to bring it up, but I would just like to echo what Phil said. I think that everybody that worked on this document did a fantastic job, and knowing that working within the confines of legally what you have to do to notify the public, and realizing that you went far and well and above and beyond to notify the public, to receive their input, and to make this document something that really is the community's and not just the P&Z commission or planning staff. I really commend you for that, and I thank you personally for all of your hard work on the document, because I know there were a lot of hours into it. So thank you.
Yes, I concur, and I think each one of us thanks you personally for the office and what they did, and it was by a good outreach to the community, an effort to get them involved, so thank you.
With all those accolades, I think you should immediately speak with Drew after this meeting and ask for a pretty hefty raise.
Well, I would like to thank the Planning Commission for volunteering to work on this and be the decision makers. And I'd also like to thank Becky for proofreading it, and that is really appreciated, so thank you all.
I can't help myself in proofing, so thank you for letting me and for taking my recommendations to heart.
Thank you again. Any other comments? Previous business? And I guess I'd entertain a motion to adjourn then.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote.
Candelaria?
Yes.
Levy? Yes. McDaniel? Yes. Remy?
Yes. Meeting adjourned.